If you're looking for 12 incredible games to get the whole family engaged with board gaming, stick around, check out our favorites here on Legendary Tactics.
So, the best family games.
That's right. Now, if you're trying to get the little ones engaged, we're going to suggest some tactics you can use and the games that you should try. So the very first one, I've got a huge closet full of games, but for some reason, every time I go to the cupboard, this is the game that the kids want to play. The game is Jamaica.
Jamaica!
Yeah. Have you had a chance to play it?
No, but I've heard you talk about it.
I've played it a couple times with you.
It is a fantastic game.
Really?
It's a boat race, and you're working your way around. The game length is perfect because kids can't stay engaged too long.
Yes.
And I think you really do have to have this expansion with the crew because you get all kinds of extra crew members.
The crew,
And
okay.
they just sort of change what's happening on your boat and how and the points you score when you win, and they're just fun. They give you powers to move farther or less far, but it's just a basic race game. Everybody gets the same deck, and kids seem to like that when it doesn't feel like anybody has an unfair advantage.
Yes.
It's just who can play their deck the best.
That's right.
So that's why I love Jamaica.
Yeah.
The whole family loves
It's
it.
fun.
Okay.
It's really cool.
Excellent. Very good. So, my number 4 pick is Cascadia. And my gang at home absolutely loves sitting down and playing this game, tile laying game, and you lay it's got a nice natural element to it with the different nature scenes. It has different animals that you sort of have to place on the board. You have to chase different configurations and different patterns, and they just really kind of they've just been really drawn to it, and they really enjoy it.
Not too hard to learn.
Not too hard to learn, not at all. No, pretty straightforward, and quite honestly, it's fun for young and old. I really enjoyed this game. I find it's just enough of a brain burner.
That's awesome.
And there's neat little challenges too that you can kind of if you want to play. There's a solo mode where you can try and get your own challenges in there, and there's just a lot of neat parts about Cascadia that I love.
Kids love animals, so great theme.
They do, yes.
And an
Cascadia.
expansion coming out soon.
That's right.
Yeah. So for me, I guess if I were to start with one of the most popular games that always works with my family, especially when we're traveling anywhere, is Dungeon Mayhem.
Dungeon Mayhem.
Now this is the expansion, which I'll just open up here, but it has all the decks all organized for you.
Hoots McGroots, I love that.
Hoots McGroots.
Dr. Tentaculous.
And awesome. You got Blorp, the gelatinous cube.
So it's funny. The kids enjoy the humor.
It's funny,
Okay.
and now it's a really fun game. It's a simple game. Basically, you're just playing shields to defend.
Yes.
You're playing cards to attack, and you have various special abilities.
What's the playtime?
5 to 10 minutes.
Amazing.
max.
It's a quick game,
Yeah,
super
it's
short.
very quick.
Okay.
And it's one of those games. As soon as you finish, you're like, let's go again. So now the one thing is that it does have a bit of take that. You are kind of attacking each other.
Okay.
So depending on your family dynamic, it could
You're gonna be
work or it
mindful
might
of
not.
that. Okay.
With our family, it's okay because the game's short. So it's if someone loses, hey, let's just do it again, and maybe you'll win the next time. And
that's right.
And the kids are okay with it.
Awesome. So something I find that really works well with kids is if you get them laughing. If you have a good time, they're going to want to come back. So the game that gets us laughing the most, Cards Against Humanity.
Whoa.
But wait.
Oh, that's risque.
Family.
Okay.
Family edition. This one's tame. I mean, if your family's into potty humor, like a pee-pee on a poo-poo, that kind of silly humor.
Yeah.
One person has a card that says, "Hello, my name is," and then everybody else plays cards to try to get that person to choose their card. So it's silly humor, and it's a fun game because you get to know your family members too. Some family members like a serious answer, some like a comedic answer.
Right.
I like a narcissistic answer that flatters me in some way. So I think why this works as a family is because you get to know each other, you have a good laugh, and you can play as long as you want. It's a nice, quick, compact game.
Nice.
Okay. So
Next up,
a really neat family game that I like
Nice technique there.
is RPG.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
All right.
This seems heavy.
So,
Do tell.
At Gen Con this summer, I went looking for a very, very simple, easy to learn, base kind of RPG game, and I came across a multiverse role-playing game RPG, and it's basically Marvel. So right away, all my kids who are into Marvel, we're already digging it. I used the book as a bit of a reference, and then I kind of went through and did my own thing, right? And I went off script.
Because you're not really a dungeon master per se. Like,
I am
is this your
100% not a
first
dungeon master.
attempt at dungeon mastery?
This was.
Awesome.
And I went way off script, right? So I started with
Cool.
some of the basic characters, and basically I started using the character stats from the book, and then I went completely rogue.
So
Not the character in the book.
So what you're doing is taking an existing system with some fun graphics and tailoring that in a way that's understandable for kids, and it's basically just playing with your kids in a
That's right.
storytelling structured way.
Yeah, and I just told a story.
Awesome.
And now, as the dungeon master, as the storyteller, you kind of have to be going on the fly, and you have to keep trying to make the next hurdle or pitfall for them to kind of encounter and go through. But we were flying through the clouds, trying to chase down Thor, and then we were, the Green Goblin was our, and it was all. It was even like for picking our bad guy. I said, "Give me a page number," and they said,
perfect.
page 218. I said, "Okay."
Monica Rambeau is the bad guy.
Oh, God, that was our
boy.
villain. But in our case, it was, and then actually, I always gave them choice. I said, "Give me 3 numbers," and then I gave them 3 choices, and it was. So
That's
we used the book. The book is almost a prop. It's all just up here, and the amount of times I had kids coming to me asking to play.
That sounds like
That's
fun.
awesome.
It just kept going on. It went on for weeks. So it was a great experience, and I would highly recommend it. All you need is a 6-sided die, a little imagination, and if you want the book, go for it. If not, use your mind.
Now remember, if you appreciate this dad hack, then give us a like, give us a subscription. We certainly appreciate your support, and hopefully some of these tips are useful to you. If you have your own tips, get those down in the comments. We're on to you, Nato.
Yes. All right. So my next game is Sleeping Queens, which is a very simple card game. You're just playing cards to you're discarding cards to kind of keep some card draw going, and you'll have you're playing like 2 + 3 and then 5, so you can play multiple cards down, and then you have the queens in the middle that you're trying to wake up and essentially score. It's a really fun game. My daughter loves it. I was surprised my son will play it too, though, because it's quite easy to learn, fun, quick. And it does have a little bit of that kind of where you can put if someone's woken up a queen, there's a sleeping potion you can give the queen to fall asleep again. So it kind of, or you can steal queens from each other. So there's a little bit of that.
A little bit, yeah.
But as long as the kids are okay with that, it's really fun and
That's really cool.
Just to tag on real quick, I found this one worked for my kids up to about age 7, maybe 8. It was a little younger kind of game. You can play it when you're older, I think.
My daughter's 11
very simple
right now.
mechanic.
She's still into it. Yeah.
What I loved when they were kids was that it was teaching them basic math, because you can do any formula or equation that you can solve in order to get rid of the useless cards and then get the better cards. So as a learning tool, I think this one can be useful.
Yeah,
very cool.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Oh, we're back to me.
Flash.
Okay. So I'm actually digging into my childhood. Nato and I used to play this game as kids incessantly. So I've pulled this one out with my own kids and my family, and it is a hit. And you can still there's newer versions of this game.
Yes.
I think it's called Atlantis now.
Yeah,
Something like that. Survive. And what I really like about this,
Evil and
and
danger.
my tip that I want to offer here is that games don't have to be played the way they're intended. And this is one such game where the intention is you hose everybody, you sink them in the water, you get to your island as quickly as possible, and you get the most points. But sometimes in a game like this, you can play almost cooperatively.
Yeah.
And so, like when I play with my daughter, she doesn't want to harm anybody. She just wants to help everybody and all escape. And so I think with kids, you can adapt the game to what suits your family and the personalities.
Because as it's written, this is one of the nastiest games.
That's right. Yeah.
It is cutthroat.
But it's so much fun.
But you can make allies too. If you do something nice, then they'll give you a nice turn. So I love this game. It never gets old. I'll play it forever.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Super cool. Cax, what are you up to?
Okay, so moving along too.
Oh, nice.
I am going to pull out.
Oh, he's being sneaky here.
I am going to be sneaky.
Don't show this one.
This is the last minute
Let them
switch
catch
of
a
my
peek.
mind here. Clask.
Nice.
Another one I picked up at Gen Con this past summer, and it was with the family in mind, and the board is too cool, I had to show it. But it's basically, it's kind of like a hockey game almost.
Right,
It's
yeah.
one-on-one hockey.
It's a dexterity game.
With magnets and a ball that rolls around here, and you're basically just trying to score on the opponent's net. My kids played this game for 3 weeks straight. The board, it never left our kitchen table.
Until they lost all the pieces.
Yes. And I got to order some more off Amazon. But you know what? They're right there, so that's no problem. But a great game, a lot of fun. Young to old alike, and I believe even the board says the box says something about from ages 8 plus. Okay, no, I thought it was one of those, 8 to 99, but it pretty much could be.
Yeah.
So anyway, classic, a great fun game. Highly recommend it.
And you know
Check it
what?
out for dexterity.
If you don't lose pieces, it means you're not playing the game. So
That's right.
It's good for you.
That's right.
Get it
That's
out there.
right. Okay, Nato, moving along to your number 2.
All right. My number 2, Flashpoint Fire Rescue. This game came out, I don't remember what year it was, but it was around the time, it was 2011, so it was around the time when Pandemic was really
That's right.
a big game. And I've always viewed this as kind of like a spiritual successor, I guess you could say, to
agree.
Pandemic.
It's a cooperative.
Yeah, it's a cooperative game where you're working together to fight a fire, and you're trying to rescue people from the building, and the fire is spreading, and it's moving around and that sort of thing. So it's like when Pandemic, there's the when you get the 3 cubes in a spot where the outbreak.
Yep.
Right.
So it's kind of similar to that.
Okay.
And you can drive the fire truck around and use the hose to put out the flames and stuff. It's kind of it's not the best game I've ever played, but the kids really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun. It does tell a nice story as well, especially if you win and you rescue all the pets and all the people out of the building.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a neat
Awesome.
game.
I might even suggest if you want to level up from Pandemic, Star Wars Clone Wars is one I've just started playing with the family. It's not on the list because we've only played it a couple of times.
Right.
But the kids loved it so far. And
Very
it's
good.
that same thing where the droids are taking over the planets and you have to, it's the same Pandemic
Navigate.
mechanic. Yeah, good. Cooperative games are such a good way to involve kids in a family because you can be the leader and help them out, or they can take the leadership role.
Yeah.
So I think the cooperative game is a fantastic choice.
Awesome. Very cool, Nato.
Are we down to my final
Flash,
game?
your number
Final.
1.
This one's big. And,
I gotta get it out. Boy, and it's a big box.
and you got to be careful that you don't drop this one.
Do not drop.
Don't drop
Okay.
it at all. So, this is actually, when I'm talking about family, I'm not just talking about kids. So with my family, the classic game that comes out at every family occasion is this one. Now, you probably recognize the board. I mean, this is Sorry or Parcheesi. It's
Yes,
the same kind
yes,
of thing.
yes.
You play it with decks of cards, and some cards let you go forward, some backwards. There's wild cards that let you bounce and knock people back.
Right.
So it's very simple to learn. Ton of fun to play. You can play 4 players. You flip the board for 6 players. And
neat.
the kids love it. There's enough strategy there that you need to actually try to improve and coordinate and work together.
Wow.
But hours of fun in that game.
Yeah.
And I would say, like, play this with parents, play it with grandparents.
Yeah.
Go right on up the scale. So
Okay.
That's great.
Well, speaking of simplicity, the last game, and this was a last-minute switch for me. Now, I picked the game called Uno Ultimate,
nice.
but really what I had in mind was just the game Uno.
Oh.
And Uno Ultimate is a nice little. This is the Marvel twist on it. And you have factions, and you kind of it's in the vein of the Uno. But I have watched my kids for the last 6 months. My boy Jack in particular, who walks around with his Uno deck, and we were at a little activity, learn how to fish seminar this past summer, and he literally turned to the person on the picnic bench beside him and started dealing cards, his Uno deck. They play it every single night, Uno.
Brilliant.
They love it at my house. Absolutely love it. It's a great game for the kids. And what I love is that the kids just play it spontaneously on their own. They don't
cool.
even need me anymore. They've actually it's full. They know the rules. They can learn it all in them, and it's just really neat. This is the next level too, though. Uno Ultimate. I do like this one.
I do like it too.
It's a really fun, especially if you love the Marvel theme, which I do. So this one for me is the upscale to the Uno. It gives it a little more of a twist than just the simple Uno version.
I think you have a great lesson here is that it doesn't matter what you think of the game, it matters what they think of the game. So
Yes.
you want to hook somebody, play the games they want to play.
Yeah, and then see if they want to pick it up and play. Right?
Yeah.
There they go.
And then once they get hooked into a game, you can level them up, sequentially like this.
Scale.
Yeah,
That's right.
Scale
them up. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay. And we
Okay,
have one
Nato,
last
and
game for
one
you.
last
game.
Better be good.
Oh, and it is. Oh, it is
Raucous
good.
Duo. Now
Yeah.
we have the 4-player one as well, and they're both great.
Yes.
Again, you're just fitting pieces into it's an abstract,
It's an
so
abstract
it's a pretty
game,
flat-looking kind of game, but it's a really fun
Pieces
little
are neat.
challenge.
Pieces are kinda cool.
Yeah, if you look at the pieces here, they've got all the. It's almost
all
like looks like
different
Tetris,
shapes
right?
and sizes and configurations, and everyone's different, right? Like there's no two shapes
There's
that are the same
two-
for your side.
but you each have the same shapes.
That's right.
And basically, you're just trying to get more shapes down on the grid than the other person, and you can only connect diagonally. So you can't connect side by side. They always have to be
On the points.
On the points.
Yes.
And so it's a great little challenge. Plays really fast, and this is one that's a hit with everyone in my family. They love the challenge, and you can do round robins with it, and
I can remember years back you showing me this game, and like I took to it right away. I really loved it.
It's really
a lot
fun,
of fun.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And nice and simple too. So
Well, hopefully there's a game on the table here that works for you and your family.
And if there's one that we missed, please let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear.
Absolutely. Now get out there.
Get gaming.
and be legendary.